Okay, so WPP Commerce is a platform that we've created where our clients, our partners and our colleagues can share all their learnings and best practices. It's an event that kicks off in the afternoon today. We have a range of interesting topics. We have some very exciting speakers, not just from India, but also from some of our other offices who are coming today. And they're going to be talking across topics like, the whole thing about omni-channel kind of shopping or experiential commerce, the fact that the lines are blurring between online and offline. We're also going to be talking about some of the new technologies, AI, ML coming into play quite heavily, especially in areas like voice, areas like regional languages. And then of course there are some very interesting learnings on the way e-com has evolved in some markets like China, etc. We'll try and share some case studies from there. So yeah, all in all, it's going to be an exciting day. Yeah, it depends on how you look at it. On the one hand, if you look at some of the numbers, they're quite startling. The fact that we have over 100 million shoppers now online in India, about 500 million transactions this year, total volume close to 900 odd billion rupees, growing in double digits. A lot of it coming now from non-metros, in fact 60% contribution from non-metros. So one way of looking at it is it's really come of age, and it's no longer a specialism or a silo. But if you actually put it in context and look at India as a market and look at the headroom for growth across various sectors, and if you also look at the demography of the country, I think we are probably just kind of scratching the surface. There's a lot we can do. The other thing we picked up, in fact, chatting with some of my colleagues who come from other markets, we are actually poised to leapfrog many states, many intermediate steps, and go into a pretty heavily dependent mobile commerce kind of an economy. So I think the next 3 to 5 years is going to see some massive shifts happening across different categories. Yeah, in fact, the whole definition of content has changed even from an advertising or a marketing perspective. What used to be kind of push content and served across mass media channels today is content which takes various shapes and forms. It can be personalized, it can kind of change in real time, it can link back to commerce, so on and so forth. And yes, I think the e-com players and the e-com channels are doing a lot of interesting stuff and actually providing avenues for brands to innovate, experiment. There's obviously data intelligence on the one hand that's required. You need the right kind of technology, whether it's with AI, ML, etc. coming into play, and linking all of that back into driving actual outcomes for brands. So it's interesting, and the fact that in a market like India, it's not just 1 or 2 languages, but we're looking at multiple regional languages, makes it on the one hand all the more challenging, but on the other hand a lot more opportunities as well for brands to actually connect with consumers across the full funnel. Yeah, I think each of the platforms and players is trying to kind of position themselves as almost like a one-stop shop for brands and marketers, offering them a full suite of services across the funnel. Not just from awareness building, etc., but also obviously to kind of complete the loop and complete the sale. And what's happened as a result is, if you look at the kind of categories that are there today on e-com, it's quite broad-based. From the early years when it was more of mobile phones and consumer electronics and travel and those kind of categories, today if you look at the mix, it's a lot broader. A lot of FMCG brands have come in, a lot of other services have come in. And I'm sure it's going to get even broader as we go along because of all of this. So yeah, on the one hand, it's a good development, but I think the challenge is also the fact that the ecosystem is like already quite fragmented, and all of these developments somewhere make it even more fragmented, which is where I think the role of an agency becomes even more important today, because I think our job is to simplify this whole ecosystem for our clients and ensure that we build a completely connected loop, so to speak, between content on the one hand and commerce on the other. And what we're doing today through WPP Commerce, the event that we're staging in Mumbai, is in a sense an attempt to share learnings and get some ideas in terms of how we do this better. I think the biggest challenge as well as the opportunity is the fact that the consumer is kind of always on and flirting between different touch points, and I'm not acting in a sequential manner when it comes to shopping or buying or whatever else. So I think going forward, it's a lot more important to first of all map out the entire customer journey and focus in areas like customer experience. So it's not just creating advertising or communication in the traditional form as we knew it and kind of pushing it out, but how do you actually surround the consumer with an experience at every stage of her journey through the purchase of a brand or a service, which is why areas like customer experience become very important. Areas like commerce become very important, and if you look at some of the recent research reports, they're all projecting that if in the past about 30-35% of the total marketing services budget used to get onto traditional communication, today that number is coming down. In fact, by 2020 that number could slip to less than 20% globally. Of course, in India things could be a little different, but I think directionally we're headed there as well.